Mark, we know from the league position that Ipswich Town will provide a huge challenge tomorrow night. How would you describe the gravity of that challenge, but also the reasons we have for optimism that we can go and meet it head on?
From the weekend, obviously, we are majorly disappointed. I am majorly disappointed. I think we've had, apart from the first 15 minutes, we got ourselves into the game. Had 3 really good chances. One was chalked off for offside. Rightly so, disappointing nonetheless. We looked a threat from those set plays. We attacked the ball well. The delivery was outstanding from Sorba, and then Sorba sees red and ends up off the pitch. But I've got to say that the reaction from Branko was poor. He just saw the opportunity and took it, and I think that's what the referee saw. Whether Sorba's flicked out with his foot, it shouldn't happen, can't happen again. But to give them what they want is what I said at the end of the game. To give them what they want is ridiculous. So, yeah, and then we miss him for the game tomorrow. On the back of that, we speak about Ben Wilmot, because Ben Wilmot will miss the rest of the season. So that's another injury, and then we've got some illness in the camp as well. So that's another challenge. So yeah, that's our lot at the moment. So we've got to work our way through that. In an environment that's unforgiving, and an environment that we're not doing brilliantly in at the moment in terms of picking points up. So we'll keep going, we'll keep working, and being positive, because that's all we can be. I think with that, it gives people opportunity. With injury and suspension, it gives other people opportunity, and hopefully they can take it.
And the message, I guess, to everyone then is to dig deep against an Ipswich Town side that are looking likely in terms of their immediate return to the Premier League.
Yeah, capable players. Obviously, they've just come down from the Premier League. I like Kieran. I think he's a really, really good coach, top coach, and they play in a way that asks questions. And I think with the quality of the players they've got, those questions, they can make it difficult for you to answer them. So we've got to be on top of our game. I think we've got to be really positive in it, and not fear, show no fear. I think that in the first 10, 15 minutes, I think that was one of the things we did in terms of playing backwards and inviting a press. You know, that can be that can add to your problems. So we've got to try and be on the front foot where we can. Know that they've got some good players tomorrow, and we've got to deal with that first and foremost. But be really good and better in possession than we possibly showed in the first 15 minutes on Saturday.
Can you take many learnings and encouragement from the reverse fixture at Portman Road in December? That game was obviously decided by Jaden Philogene goal in the first minute.
Yeah, I think, well, it's different, because it's a totally different evening, different set of circumstances. You know, we were in a real good position at that point, and at this moment in time, we're not. So, you know, we've got to change that. I understand that. I understand that we've got to. And by the way, the challenge is significant. You know, I'm not talking about Ipswich here. I'm talking about our own challenge and finishing as strong as we possibly can. I would say the positives for us are that there are people back on the grass, but they're back on the grass. It's not that they're ready to play. But we've got this week. We've got Preston after Watford at the weekend, and then Ipswich. So the 3 games going into this next international break, the final one of the season. We should have everybody back, certainly for all the majority players back for the back end, for the back last 7. It's getting to that point. You know, we need to pick more points up. The performances haven't been too bad, to be fair, but the problems we've had have been sort of, you know, long-standing problems where we have to score more goals. We have to be, we have to be really, really positive in that. In that middle final third, but also I think talk about in the penalty area set plays, and conceding another one from a set play was majorly disappointing, and we have to take that responsibility. Each individual's got to take the responsibility to keep the ball out the back of our net from those situations, because essentially your numbers are greater than the opposition's in that area. So. Let's see what we can do. On the flip side of it, we were much better in terms of what it looked like our goal threat was going to be from our own set play. So let's see.
Just going back to the players being out on the grass, could you talk us through some of the complexities, I guess, when you're trying to get them back into the team, and then how difficult it is for them to sort of hit the ground running, I guess, when they go back in there?
Really, we're in a position where we need people back quickly. You've got to get that I will always push for that. I think that our medical department, sports science department, work to try and get them back as quickly as possible. But sometimes, sometimes maybe they've not had enough work. Certainly, they've not played any under 21s games. But under 21s games aren't necessarily what they're going to need to get to the level. So that would just be a box ticking exercise, really. And I think that you can do a lot more with the training. Now, the training has got to be such that you've got a sufficient load into them and a sufficient volume of training into them before they can really start to kick on. And then, when you're asking them to perform explosive actions and do that consistently and then recover quickly and do it again, and then obviously when you've got that game out of the way, you've got to recover and then go again. Sometimes it's difficult for them to recover and it puts them at risk of an injury, and that's where we've been caught because of the injuries that we sustained from the impact injuries that we had. It meant that players had to play out of position. It meant that they've had to play more minutes than maybe they should have done. Maybe because we're chasing your tail. You're chasing your tail all the time. So that's the difficulty. Once they're back and once they've got to a certain level and they're able to complete those sessions and recover really quickly, then obviously they move on from that. They integrate into the team training, and then when we see that they're at a decent place, then they can come back safely. The problem for us has been that we've had to move them back and get them back in quickly because the squad is so light and at the moment. So that's where we're at. There's a balance to be had. The complexities are quite varied, depending on person to person and injuries. The situation with injuries, and clearly we've had to move people around and play them in positions that are a little bit foreign or a bit different to them, which means their actions in game and the demands on them are slightly different in each position. So that has an impact as well. It's very, very disappointing, and it's something that we've got to look at and give serious consideration to moving forward, because you can't do anything if we've not got a fully fit squad for the majority of the season. And that isn't to say that you don't get injuries, because you do get injuries, and sometimes you get long-term injuries. But it's the ability to be able to keep going and go again and add to the squad and make it stronger. At the moment, it's difficult. There's no doubt about it. But that's the set of circumstances that we've got, and we will be positive through it. And there's no reason not to be positive through it, because ultimately it gives people opportunities to go and stamp their or put the mark on the game.
You've been clear you want to be positive, attack the end of this season. 6 of the final 10 are at home. How much would you really want to give the home support something to get behind in that final 10 games, especially these 6 on our home patch starting tomorrow night?
Honestly, we owe them. They stick by us thick and thin. They're very disappointed. They are disappointed. There's no doubt about it. There's no getting away from it. It's an emotional game. It's been an emotional season in a number of ways, and it's for us to try and give them something to really cheer about and hang on to and get behind and support. But that doesn't change. There's nothing changes there, because that's what we try and do all the time. We try and make them proud and give them something to cheer about. And at the moment, it's not that they shouldn't be proud of them, because the team are putting all their efforts in. There's not anything that they can't do other than be more positive. I think we spoke about that first 15 minutes. We couldn't get a foothold in the game, but we can bring things on ourselves. You can bring that on yourself. But if you're in a positive frame of mind, if you're positive with your outlook, with the way that we want to play and be connected and all of those things, and that's something that suffers a little bit when you've got so much change and variation, then you've got a real good chance, if you can be that and have that connection in the game, you've got a better chance of winning football matches, and you've got an even better chance of winning football matches when you're all together as one.